Hey, people are here. Huzzah! Sorry about all that. Technical difficulties. How is everyone's weekend? And sorry about completely forgetting about all of this, man. I haven't slept more than like 4 hours a night. And I was literally just sitting on my couch staring out the window, completely forgetting that this whole thing was a thing. So I'm actually doing good despite that. I am I am enjoying you watching Nvidia skyrocket because I have shares and that's going to make me happy in the morning. My weekend was all right. Uh, Lots of hanging out, partying with people, family. Nothing too crazy. I got little kids, but enjoyed. So with any Nvidia in skyrocket mode, do you think we're gonna hit 540 this week on SPY? It'd be pretty interesting if it hit 540. I am Nandy. Did you get in? Or I'm Nandy? Let's see how futures are doing while we wait. I mean, futures are still below Friday's high. So futures haven't, they rocketed up, but now they're pulling back. It'll be interesting to see what Nvidia does in the morning. There's Friday's high. Pushed through it earlier this morning and then came right back down. Ooh, nice little move there. Go ES, go. All right. Sorry for the delay. I am quite tired. I'm probably just going to go through this pretty, like go through the basic stuff we go through. I'll take some requests at the end if there's any time, and bedtime's going well upstairs and whatnot. But my name is ajoenamedjoe. This is the Sun and 8 market scan where I go through the indexes, the Magnificent Seven, and whatever we're going to look at through for earnings, as well as anything else I have my eyes on and options flow. I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence before taking any trades. I will mark out any trades that I am considering or looking at. That does not mean it is a recommendation to buy or sell anything. That being said, SPY. Push out to the weekly. Let's see how we did last week. 4 weeks in a row, and we've already crested last week's high. So, I mean, honestly, this probably feels like it's just going to continue up. I'll mark out this order block here on SPY. It's a nice one. These last two up candles before it pulled back. You can view that as an order block. You could also view these three down candles as an order block, which is probably the smarter move, to be honest. But that's a big weekly one. Matter of fact, I'm just not even going to bother. So, weekly feeling so far like it wants to continue up. We haven't had a whole lot go on yet, but Would not surprise me if we continue in an upward direction. Take a look at the daily. Well, on Thursday, we had the highs and the lows of the entire week taken out in one day. And right now, and then Friday was an inside day. So this is going to be a nice trade, actually. Take out that high and go to there, or take out that low and go to there. Those are going to be some nice levels to watch. I would mark those out on your chart if that is something you would like to do. The high and the low of the last week, and then looking for a trade to that high or low of the previous week. That'd be a pretty decent intraday trade. You could just adjust your stop. So it's a 3 or a 2 to 1, depending on whatever risk you feel like taking on. And let her see if she goes. Okay. So SPY, I'm feeling bullish, but I mean, looking at this 1 hour chart, right? I mean, we got the break to the downside. We hit a lower low. We're coming up. It really needs to break to the upside here and push into a higher high. Uh, I mean, it really kind of needs to do that in order to keep bullish. Else, this is just going to weigh it down. This is more of like a a bearish setup. So you come down here, you break that previous low, and you bounce, and then you continue down. So it'd be interesting to see what do we have on the 4 hour. Nothing spectacular. There's, I guess, somewhat of an order block here. Yeah. I mean, it's it's actually feeling bearish to me. It's feeling bearish right now. I'd be looking for the downside move, to be honest. But we'll see if Nvidia's upward movement and is going to be enough to continue moving the markets up. I'm guessing the Qs look pretty much the same, but they don't actually. They do not. I'll tell you why. So here we have SPY. We have the Qs over here. Oh, nope, they did hit a lower low. I was just looking at the wrong time frame. So the Qs still hit that same lower low here from here. Let's make sure that that's right. And I'll sync my crosshair so I know I'm looking at the right times. Oh, so look at that. This low here that we cleared on SPY's 1 hour and pushed down is not this low. It's actually this low down here on the Qs. And we have not cleared that low on the Qs. So this is what would be considered a bullish divergence, where you have correlated assets hitting different prices. And this would be a bullish setup. So you have SPY hitting a lower low, but the Q's not. The Q's are going to keep moving. Q's decided to keep moving up. It looks like they're going to try and push up here. Let's check out the diamonds. So the diamonds followed. I want to say, yeah, the diamonds. I mean, they hit a much lower low than SPY, but your QQQ and your ES or your SPY are the more correlated ones. So it looks like tech is going to want to try and push it up, while SPY is either taking out these stops to run it up, or gonna weigh down the Qs, and we'll see what happens. But this would be a bullish divergence setup for the SPY. So feeling bullish there. Diamonds hitting lower lows, pushing back down below this support here that was previous resistance, becoming support, and then gave up, and now it's resistance again. Tried to become support, and then it just ripped to the downside. So diamonds feeling a bit bearish right now. We'll get the 4 hour here. It might be easier to see. for this setup. But you can see how well that level was respected coming into this, the rejection, the support, the break to the downside, and the rejection again. And now they're just straight, not even caring. Like it stopped here, and then now it just ripped to the downside. So boomer stocks feel like they might be on some downward trajectory. And then IWM also still feeling bearish. I don't see why this doesn't continue down. So SPY and the Qs feeling bullish, diamonds and small caps feeling bearish. So now we have a bit of some discord in the indexes, which is showing that there's possibly some questionable motives or something like investors aren't quite sure that they want to make a decision to put their money into anywhere specific. You know, let's while we're here, let's check out energy. Energy's got this really nice flag. And the reason I check energy is because um, energy is more of a defensive sector. If there's uncertainty, energy tends to break out, and it does look like it is doing so here. Move it out to the weekly. Hit new highs, and now it's flagging. So energy flagging out there. Let's check out utilities. Also on a rippity doodah. Feeling a bit bullish here on the higher time frames on the week. And maybe pull back here on the daily, maybe to like 69, 68. But this level looks to be a pretty decent level here. So energy feeling like it might want to pull back a little bit, especially if it gives up that Thursday's low there. Gives up Thursday's low. It's got a lot of room to move to the downside. So that might be something I'd be looking at. For XLU, energy, again, it's got this nice little flag working itself out. I'd like to see it push down into maybe like 90 and then pull back up to the 94s, 93s, somewhere in there. But energy is feeling bullish. So if we have issues with price in the indexes, and now we've got bullishness in energy and utilities, that could be signaling that there's some worry coming into the markets. All right, big ones. Amazon. I was looking for Amazon to 200 last week, and they told me to get lost. So I'm gonna go ahead. Nando got that one. We didn't break out. It didn't push up. It tried to. No, it did not. It gave a little push and then it just pushed down. I was really thinking that it would fill this gap and then push to the upside, and it just never even got there. So it's filling this downside trade right now. Breaking that low, pushing into this low right here. And this is something that this is a big wick. I would look at watching the where am I? The 50% on that at 178.78. Can I get it? 78.78. Somewhere in there. Somewhere in there is where I'd look for a possible support bounce on the Amazon. I'm still feeling bullish here. Which also happens to line up to this little congestion area right here in price on the daily. And look at the 4 hour, still just following that trend line down. I'd like to see it bounce there and finally give the push out. But I'm still bullish Amazon long term. We'll see if I'm right though. Would like the breakout to trade the breakout on this, not wait for something to happen, but instead of going in with a bias and getting in early and being wrong and getting crushed, I'd rather it break out and then trade the breakout. This trade did not work out the well I wanted it. So watching Amazon 4 hour for that trend line break. Apple, thinking that it was going to push up, pull back, push up some more. Exactly what's been going on. I still think it wants 200. Was showing a little bit of weakness last week. And unfortunately, I want to make this go away. Unfortunately, see this week right here in the beginning of May, also a weaker week. However, it was an inside week compared to the other one. Now we have a similar week, price action wise, is showing us weakness, pushing up to the high, coming down, taking out these lows, big wicks on either side, but it's not an inside candle anymore. We actually took out the highs of the previous week and then came down and closed below those previous highs right here. So this is feeling a bit more weak, in my opinion. So I'd be watching the breakdown of last week's low for it to really like push into this bit of a gap right here in price action. So I'd look for it to break 186 and push into about 184, 183s. That would be the trade that I'd be looking at on Apple this week. And adjust my stop wherever. Not really looking to be a one-to-one trade. Obviously, the stop is going to be subject to where price is when and if it breaks that level. But the break of this level into this gap is what I'd be watching on Apple. Google hitting new all-time highs, just keeps pushing up. Again, a similar situation to Apple here. These inside candles are what gave us a new all-time high, but similar price action and no follow through. So I mean, we got a little bit of an all-time high, but we haven't gotten the big body candle right now. And it's not an inside candle. We didn't get an inside candle before it broke to the upside. So keeping an eye on Google. It's not something that I'd really feel like trading right now at these levels, to be honest. I don't know if I'd take a trade on Google right now. Nvidia is apparently at what? What did Discord tell me? 1100. Apparently, Google or Nvidia broke 1100 already in pre-market, and if they're running up here to 1100, and the ES and the Nasdaq are not pushing up there, that's a bit of a concern. I'd be looking at possible puts for a day trade on Nvidia, but that's going to be it's going to be pushing it because these contracts are going to be juiced right now, especially with the impending split. IV is going to be way up there. Issues with Taiwan, um, not something I'd want to touch this week, to be honest. Meta was looking for a downside, never got that downside. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Still ranging right here. I'd actually look for it to push into 482 and then see if it wants to break out or come back down. And I'd be watching for price action intraday at this range. See what it does when it gets there. If it just wants to push above this previous high and not close above it, say on like an hourly candle or something, or it just wants to wick above, or in the opening 2 hours, if it can't hold that level and comes back down, I'd look for some downside. I think that would be a good trade in my opinion. But Meta ranged, just kind of sitting here waiting to see if it wants to break out or if it wants to come back down to this range. Microsoft new all-time highs, came back down. I'm assuming this is going to. Oops, what did I do? I'm assuming this is going to come back up. I mean, we had this range set here. Price stopped right at the middle of it. Tried to break out once, twice, finally gapped up and then came down. Feels like it wants to go back up, in my opinion. Feeling bullish on Microsoft this week. And then the Teslas, still questionable. We did get an inside day on Friday there. That trade almost played out beautifully as it came above, broke that previous week's high, and then ran almost up to that number, like just pennies short. It's 187.42, 30 cents short, and then reversed and came back down. So that trade was a nice trade. Now that that trade is in the books, because it's obviously come back down and hit our stop, and now it's back in this range. I don't know. They've got this whole thing where, yeah, right. If they don't approve Elon's package and he decides he wants to leave, that might be what happens. Tesla to 178. Hello. Okay. All right. Well, let's see what is going on here. See if I can just restart this. Ignore my adorable children. Anyway, so here's the Tesla weekly. Pushed into that gap, pulled back inside, broke to the up. Feeling kind of weak, came back down into this inside candle. Not something I want to take a trade on right now, unless you want to take puts and try and put it into the ground. But um, he's already focusing on other. Someone said that Elon would focus on other projects. He said he would focus on other projects from Tesla and not leave entirely. He's been focusing on other projects for the last 5 years. SpaceX and X have completely taken up his time, and now XAI has a large valuation. And those are the things he's focusing on right now. He's not focusing on Tesla. So we'll see what they want to do. But maybe Elon leaving Tesla would be a good thing. I wonder if anybody's thought of that. Having a CEO who's focused on the company versus focused on his other enterprises might be a good thing for Tesla. Oh, all right. So earnings. What do we have for earnings this week? We do have a few that I had my eyes on. We have Futu. Futu. That one's going to be interesting. Let's see, where was the other one? Uh, Chewy usually performs poorly, so you probably just get puts on Chewy. The C3 AI, I was looking at their fundamentals. Um, they're not doing too well. I would almost look at puts on C3 AI for earnings. Salesforce feeling bullish. OKTA also feeling bullish on that one. Canopy growth, I would just buy puts with time and forget about it because it'll be up 300% in a year. The company is horrible and does not make any money whatsoever. So I don't see any reason for upward momentum in canopy growth. And even with, I'm guessing, like we got that big pump, right? CGC. Let's take a look at CGC. Got the big pump. He pushed into 16, 15 and then just came right back down. What's Tilray doing? I mean, Tilray's gave up the pump already. I mean, legal weed just doesn't seem to be profitable at all. So I don't know. I mean, at one point, Tilray was in the 60s on this last pump in 2021, and now they're looking to like actually reclassify marijuana, and it didn't even get. I mean, did it even break three? I don't even think it broke three. No, $2.97, and then it just dumped. So I can't help but be bearish on these legal weed companies, even despite the volume. I don't think it's there. I just really don't. So don't think that's there. Marvel did not fulfill that head and shoulders. Went ahead and just ripped right back up. I have a feeling this one's going up. It's probably going to try those previous highs at 85. Yeah. Let's take fib, mark out that 50, And that's feeling bullish to me. So I'd be looking at calls on Marvel for their earnings, and then Ulta is usually also a popular one. This thing really came down hard, and it's lost a lot of value here. What is that? 34%, 33% in 2 months. I mean, come on. It is at the bottom of this range here, so maybe we're looking at some upward momentum. But if it gives up this level, I can almost I can almost say it's probably going to go down. Kava, possibly. They're just going straight up as it is. I forgot what they do. Aren't they an insurance company? Let me just double check. Holding company for restaurants. Okay, interesting. So, I mean, okay, I don't know much about what they hold, honestly, but I mean, they're going up. Uh, I can't imagine the restaurant business is too profitable. Well, actually, no. The restaurant business is probably ridiculously more profitable now than it was 2 years ago because they've got the prices jacked all the way to Kingdom Come. So okay, if you guys have put the effort and the due diligence into it, and you know what you're getting into, then go for it, man. I don't know much about this company, but if you know more than I do, go right ahead. I am actually looking at these VSTs. I was looking at their numbers as well. I'm not too impressed by their fundamentals and their balance sheet and their profitability ratios. I I mean, look at how much higher we're just keep going up. There's no volume here compared to this big volume here. Nothing. Excuse me. To justify this. So, I mean, it's could be going parabolic, but really, I mean, this just feels like wishful thinking, in my opinion. And I'd look for some downside in VST. I don't care what Norberto says. And options flow. Yes, options flow. Oh, options flow. GameStop was some big ones right there. The 24 calls out the money for 531. Somebody hit those on Thursday, put $855,000 into them. So keep an eye on GameStop this week. There was some money rolling into it. So these 24 calls and then these 20 calls had ridiculous amounts of money. I mean, it's just pouring in. So if we come down here, you can see there was $11 million, $46 million, 6 million, and 6 million. So, uh, and these are in the money, and the open interest hasn't gone down at all, which means that like nobody is executing contracts yet, or taking assignment, or anything. Like they just keep buying these contracts for whatever reason. So I'd keep an eye on GameStop. Unfortunately, probably not the greatest one that people wanted to hear. These expired. These FCell ones have been keep getting hit, but man, I can't for the life of me figure out why anybody would want to buy this company and these shares. I've enjoyed trading this company over the years, but like they just don't make any money. So, but it is notable flow on these FCell one calls for June 21st. Somebody keeps pumping money into those as well. Um, these Nvidias, I don't remember who these were. I think it was just something that I was looking at and I forgot to remove it. SO 80 calls for 621. Let's see, somebody had dumped some in here in the 80s on the 13th. I do believe this is yes, this is a politician stock. So right back here, January 23rd, they got long at 15 for $23,000 for 1,400 contracts. And if we look through here, you see open interest only drops maybe 3, 1 contracts there, 7, 5, and the rest just keep going up. So this person has been in since January for $23,000 at 15 cents a contract, and they've already breached 100 once and gone up to as high as 155, it looks like. So they've gone from 15 to 155, and they're still holding, which is super, super unusual. So SO 80 calls for 621, also uh, quite unusual flow right there. And then these ANNX, somebody dumped a ridiculous amount of money here, $3.5 million at 350 on March 27th. I think they're pharmaceutical, and I think this is probably an FTA trade. So we can have that. And these contracts are only right around 118 to 125 on Friday. So, and it's a I mean it's a penny stock, right? It's not even a $5 stock, I don't think. Yeah, it's a $5 stock with a head and shoulders on the daily. So take that for what you will. But those are the only other options contracts that I was watching. There has been a lot of money pouring into First Solar, FSLR, and a lot of money pouring into PDD. So those are also some ones that people might want to keep an eye on, as well as ONON. This is an old contract, but I saw some money that I haven't put it down yet, but there was some money that flew into those. I think Tilio posted about it. So there's a few ways. The question is, how do you know if they're opening a contract or closing something that's been opened? So there's a few ways. So right here on these ON contracts, on May 13th, 13,600 volume came through over 868 uh, open interest, which um, is huge because that's more contracts in volume than there are available contracts open. So that's one thing that would lead me to believe that these are being opened. Second is I would look at the flow and see the size of these. So these were being coming through near the, these were in the spread a little bit, but the size of them was 3,243. And when your open interest is only 868, these are clearly being open at this point. Now, are they being open long or open short? That's the question that you got to ask yourself, and then come down here and take a look and kind of see what is going on. So we had earnings coming up. This initial fill for the large size was filled at 130, which was leaning ask on a pretty wide spread. And then the rest of the big fills were at 130 as well. Okay. So they got the same fill despite the fact that the spread was fluctuating. So that tells me that these are very, very high likelihood. I'd say 99% chance that these are being added long because the fill is near the ask. The price is constant through these large sizes, despite the fact that they're over an hour apart. And there's more volume coming through than there is open interest. So that's how I would determine if something is being open or closed. Oh. Anything else, Joe? Looking through my notes. Nothing else that I got for you. Let's check on this meta whale. Still there. This meta whale is still in for $200 million. We got in at 2188, and they are down half, almost more than half at one point. So they've lost $100 million, but they're still holding for these 618, 1030 puts. Can't imagine they're going to be willing to lose $200 million, especially after they only started with 10. But yeah, this whale is here. which is giving me a bias for Meta that it wants to continue up. So even with this gap down, now we're ranging here before we gap fill. I mean, it feels like it wants to go up again. Is it going to push to 1030? Most likely not. Strikes, you should never use strikes as a target price, in my opinion. So despite the fact this whale bought these 1030 strikes, I don't think they necessarily think it's going to go to 1030. They just want that far out the money to probably lower their overall cost. And they bought enough time with these contracts when they initially opened them that there was plenty of time for them to grow as it moved up. But time is ticking on these contracts. There's less than 30 days left on these contracts. Time is ticking. And they're down half at this point. So but I'm still feeling bullish on Meta. This is one of the reasons I'm bullish on Meta. The other reason is they make money hand over fist and they don't care how they do it, but they do it nonetheless. All right. Let's take a look at maybe through some other sectors here. Let's see how banks are doing. Banks pushed into a new all-time high, pulling back into this here uh, channel, which never really filled itself out. I'm just going to delete it. So previous resistance is becoming support and then becoming resistance again. So kind of looking like a double top on financials. Finally looking for some downside here on financials. Maybe you want to come down to 39.40s. I wouldn't mind getting some 39.40 puts on XLF with some time. Probably be relatively cheap. Let's take a look actually, since I got it up. Go gadget computer. All right, there we go. Let's see. XLF, at least 30, probably closer to 50 days. So July 19th, and looking at some maybe 40, 39 puts. Those contracts are only $36 to $39. Not bad, in my opinion. These 39.40 puts right here. I mean, this spread is ridiculous, but the spread's a bit better. I wouldn't mind those. Enough time, 53 days. Let's see what August ones are at. Horrible spread on those, so I wouldn't really look at those. Those June ones, or those July 19th, 40 puts on XLF. Wouldn't mind seeing that come down, especially really nice double top setup there. Energy and utilities we looked at. Technology pushing up. Looks like it's got support there. We'll see if it keeps going. Healthcare pulling back. Still a long time trend line here, though. So still feeling an upward momentum there on healthcare. Consumer discretionary chopping along here in this big area of range. Probably just going to sit there for right now. Consumer staples also pushing up. Industrials feeling very double topish, feeling like it wants to come down. Might look at some puts, maybe 120s on those. If there's enough oh, whoa, what just happened? If there's enough um liquidity in the chain. Sorry, my head is broken right now. Where is my options table? It disappeared on me. There it is. I have a feeling there's probably not a ton of liquidity in here. Oh my goodness. There we go. So going, yeah, let's go to those Julys. What's looking at 120s. Horrible spread. And I have a feeling there's not a lot of open interest on those. So, maybe not those. Communications also ranged as well, and material sector also just kind of chopping along here. So, really, energy and utilities pushing up here in this nice flag. Utilities pushing up with the pullback. XLF looking like a double top pullback as well. Those are the three that I would be watching: financials, energy, and utilities. All right. Anybody got any questions? I hear my kids yelling, so if there are no questions. I will go attend to my children. All right. Well, I hope everybody has a good day, a good rest of your um, holiday, and I will see you in the Discord. Thanks for coming out. I appreciate it. Appreciate you too. Appreciate you too. I will go take those kiddos. You guys have a good night. Sorry for the late start. That's on me. I space cased, and I apologize. I'll try not to do that again. Good night.